two of my remaining pottery pieces I made in fine arts in 2005, 2006, as of the day I'm filming this, 25 June 2025. So I'm Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, she, her, hers of Seattle. Here I show two of my remaining pottery pieces, each a coil pot I made about the 2005-2006 academic year, which was about 19 years before this video was filmed on Wednesday, 25 June 2025. Each piece I made as part of the curriculum in fine arts elective courses in sculpture/ceramics I took in middle school/high school. So I took multiple courses in middle school and then one course in high school. So this spanned multiple academic years. And my making of this video was inspired by my playing of 2014 computer game Nancy Drew Labyrinth of Lies as part of my Sacred Saturdays earlier this month, June 2025. In the game, they ask the character that I play to make a vase. And I was like, I got some coil pots. Well, and I got two intact. So my fine arts elective courses I took in middle school and high school were sculpture and ceramics, cartooning, web design, which was actually a technical elective, and jewelry/metals, which was making jewelry out of metal and other kind of designed metal pieces with intricate designs on them sometimes. So we even got to use a blowtorch and a buffer and stuff for that one. And so let's go through, I'll go through both pieces. And each are coil pot, which means I handmade every single coil and I stacked them to form this shape. And over 19 years later, none of the coils have fallen apart. And so there's the class assignment, which is my own performance. However, the not having fallen apart over 19 years later is my competitive side, right? It's still intact. This is what the inside of the pot looks like. This is kind of more of a matte, nude, earthy glaze. So there is a glaze, you can see, on it in ceramics/sculpture. In this pot, the glaze is applied before the pot is fired, and it helps build in structural integrity so the coils stay together. However, it was my responsibility to make sure the coils did not separate as I built the pot. And it is building a coil pot is an endeavor because it needs to be done without the coils drying out. And we had to do this over, the pot was required to stay in the classroom, and it took multiple sessions to build. So it was it was each and every coil is a child. You know, got to make sure it doesn't dry out, got to make sure it fits just so on the coil below it, and that the like melding of the two coils is harmonious. That you can't, I do such a good job. Can you see where the end and start of each coil is? No, that's my art. That's my my craftsmanship, right? And is part of it's figuring out not only on top of each other, but then within each coil, the beginning and end. Okay. And then what was part of this assignment was to add a subtle, like a little texture to the outside by something other than was kind of the pot. So I chose the end of I think it was like a paintbrush to add texture. And so I did a kind of tiered stepping texture on my coil pot. So this is one, and then I've already shown you the other one. This is one, so the coils were thicker. There's more heft and like the individual coil. However, this is a more hefty coil pot as a whole. And so these were more rectangular. And I remember the class assignment was a little different, and I remember being like, the coil specifications was different, and I was like, I don't know about this one. And like, it's really hard because it's a top heavy, so to get it right without collapse before it's fired, and then fire it and, like, you know, get that glaze on there. And so that when it's fired, it does stay together. And so over 19 years later, I was making this one, I was like, I don't know if it's gonna make it, you know, because like I did it right, but like it's top heavy, and it's a coil pot. Okay, so a lot of coil pots might not be the most common form of antiquity ceramics, in part because they're so difficult to make. They might fall apart. So it requires a different level of craftsmanship than just taking material out of a block of clay. This is everything is like each coil is made by hand, like, and then they have to stick together and that kind of thing. All right, so this one was I think it was a different coil one, and I was like, it was testing our coil abilities, if we can make them like rectangular coils as opposed to like circular. It was hard. And then at the end of one of my ceramic / sculpture classes in middle school, I had these plastic bags in the locker room for physical education. It was like for running, I suppose, but I like didn't actually need them. And I remember we were asked to take all of our pots home. And so I remember I had them in my backpack, like a backpack full of books and ceramics and pots that I had made, and I didn't only make pots, but anyway, but I had these bags in my locker, and I just remember it felt like divine alignment. Was like my hefty pots had plastic bags that I had been keeping in my locker, my physical education locker. And now the question is, does Aristotle approve? I think he does. But yes, coil pots were kind of one of my things in ceramics / sculpture. But it gained a different appreciation for, like, sometimes we don't see basic forms in art because of how difficult they are to make, and just right, we see in abundance the non-coil pots because they were that easy to make compared to these ones. So I was like, right, these ones lasting a long time mean a lot more because of how difficult it is to achieve successful structural integrity of the coils staying together. So there we go. That's on 2 of my remaining pottery pieces I made in fine arts in 2005-2006 as of 25 June 2020.